The Australian sun doesn't just burn your skin, it boils your very soul. We were miles away from civilization, lost in the red dust. This farm was larger than some small countries. Out here, if something happens to you, the desert is the only witness. Jeremy was a man of few words. We drove in a silence so heavy you could hear the tires crushing the dry earth. And then Jeremy saw it. Something blue. Something that didn't belong in this world of red and brown. A massive blue shipping container dropped in the middle of nowhere. Jeremy whispered, "That wasn't here 5 weeks ago." A generator was roaring behind the container, its mechanical heart beating in the silence of the desert. Power in the middle of a wasteland. Then I felt it. The cold stare of a lens. The cameras weren't just recording, they were following us like a predator watching its prey. I told Jeremy we should leave, but this was his land, and he didn't like strangers building secrets on his territory. He grabbed the bolt cutters. His hands didn't shake, but mine did. We were about to open a door that was meant to stay shut. With one sharp crack, the lock gave way. The sound echoed for miles, signaling our intrusion to whoever was listening. The door groaned as it swung open, releasing a blast of icy air that felt like a breath from the grave. It wasn't a storage unit. It was a high-tech office, humming with electricity in the middle of a dead wasteland. Half-full water bottles, pens still on the desks. It felt like they had vanished only seconds before we stepped inside. The screens were alive, tracking every inch of Jeremy's land with surgical precision. But why? What were they looking for? Then Jeremy found it. A folder with our faces. They hadn't just been watching the farm. They had been inside our rooms while we slept. Then the silence of the desert was broken. A low rumble, like approaching thunder, coming from the north. 2 black shadows were racing across the sand. No sirens, no markings, just pure, high-speed aggression. Jeremy didn't say a word. He grabbed me with a strength I didn't know he had. We had to move, or we would become part of their files. The engine screamed as we slammed it into gear. In the mirror, the black SUVs were closing in like wolves on a wounded deer. We drove like madmen, the tires barely touching the ground. One slip, one flat tire, and we were finished. Our lungs were burning, our hearts ready to burst. They stopped following, but the silence they left behind was even more terrifying. Jeremy called the authorities. He told them everything. The container, the computers, the photos. He sounded like a man who had seen his own ghost. 3 hours later, we went back. This time with backup. This time with the law. Or so we thought. It was gone. Not a wire, not a bolt, Not even a footprint. The desert had swallowed the evidence whole, leaving only the wind.
Jeremy sold the farm a month later. Me, I never looked for work in the Outback again. Some secrets are buried in the sand for a reason.